What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the NBA trade deadline. There were a lot of teams that made a lot of moves. I'm going to be giving them each a ranking on how I think they did in the trade. I won't be able to get to all the teams, there's just too many teams that made too many moves, but I'll get to the ones that are most intriguing to me. Before I get into the teams and what I think of their trades, I just want to say this has been probably one of the most interesting and most active trade deadlines that I've seen in a while. The past few years has been quite slow in terms of deals being made before the trade deadline. A lot of deals were made during the summer, so during the season it was quite slow and nothing really major happened. But this year it was a little bit different. These kind of moves made each team better, and I want to get into it a little bit more. We're seeing a change in the way that teams are constructing their roster. I think it's due to the fact that the way that the CBA is structured right now, you can't have 3-4 all-stars like the Celtics did last year, right? And look at them now, like they pretty much disbanded their whole team. But because of the way the CBA is structured, they're looking at it more in the terms of like an actual team. Like, how do we build a team that can sustain injury, that can sustain a star player not playing up to their standards for 1 or 2 games, and they're building a team that is actually a team. Everyone gets to play, everyone contributes, everyone does their part. I would also like to say I love seeing smaller markets go for big players because I think smaller markets have nothing to lose because they're a smaller market. Like, their reputation, their market share is already not that high. So what have they got to lose if they were to go get a Giannis or a Ja? Starting off with the Washington Wizards. So the Washington Wizards picked up Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum. The grade that I give for the Wizards is B-. The biggest trade piece for the Wizards is Anthony Davis, and the first thing that I thought about was how Anthony Davis is going to fit in with Trey. I actually think they fit pretty well. I think the way that they play complements each other. The Wizards have a very interesting and intriguing starting lineup. They can play Trae Young, Keyshawn George, Coulibaly, Anthony Davis, and Alex Sarr. That's a lot of size if you think about it. Besides Trae Young, like 2 to 5 is a lot of size, so they can kind of cover up for Trae Young defensively, which is what you want if you have a star point guard in Trae Young. They also picked up veteran point guards in D'Angelo Russell and Dante Exum, right? So now they kind of have a mixture of veterans and also some good young pieces like Alex Sarr, Bob Carrington, Coulibaly. Like, I would expect the Wizards to start winning more games. I'm not going to be surprised if you see them in the play-in. The second team, the Utah Jazz, I give them A-. In this trade, they bring in Jaren Jackson, Concha, Vince Williams Jr., and Lonzo Ball. They're just assembling like a team of Avengers who are like 6'4" and above. Like, the shortest guy is Keontae George, and he's 6'4". After that, you got Ace Bailey, 6'9", Lauri Markkanen, 7'1", Jaren Jackson Jr. is 6'11". Like, they just want to dominate you with size, and I think it's a pretty good move for the Utah Jazz. I love this trade for the Utah Jazz. I think it makes sense for a small team like them to make a trade like this. They bring in Triple J, which is a very good player, but you pair him with, an up-and-coming star that you have in Keontae George. You have a good veteran in Lauri Markkanen, and you also have Ace Bailey, who you picked up last year. I am really excited to see how this all works out for Utah. They have a good mixture of young talent, they have a good mixture of veteran talent, they have good size, they have good athleticism. They also have Will Hardy now, which is, cut from the same cloth as Joe Mazzulla. So I'm very excited to see what this team is capable of accomplishing. The next team is Buzz City, Charlotte Hornets. I give them a grade A-. So the Charlotte Hornets added Kobe White and Xavier Tillman. Now, Xavier Tillman was kind of like a cash consideration, so they got cash from it, so I don't really see much of this trade. But the addition of Kobe White is huge. They pretty much sent out Colin Sexton and replaced him with Kobe White, which is a way better player. He's averaging better stats. I think he's like 18, 3, and 4. I think Colin Sexton was like 12, 1 and 2 or something like that. But Kobe White is just a better player overall. When I watch the Bulls play, I am more scared of Kobe White than I am of any other player on the Bulls team. He has the ability to just go off for 30, 40 points in a quarter. So I think it's a great pickup for Charlotte. Charlotte has low-key been playing very well. They won quite a few games now in a row. I do have another video coming out talking about Charlotte on a deeper level, so stay tuned for that one. I will say, you can kind of tell there's been a change in the team dynamic. When I used to watch the Charlotte Hornet play, they were a very unserious team because of LaMelo Ball. He's low-key matured a little bit, and I think the addition of Brandon Miller and Knupel has kind of changed their hunger level. I think they're more hungry and they want to win games now because they're a little bit older. I also think Charles Lee, the new head coach, is doing a very good job, but I'll go into more detail about the Charlotte Hornets later on. The third team, the Land, Cleveland Cavaliers. I give them a C-. I don't really understand the trade. I mean, I understand it, but I don't. I know you guys aren't playing well, and there's just been a drop-off in, 3-point shooting, and, there wasn't a magnet ball like there was last year, right? But Darius Garland is still young. I think he's like 26, and you trade him for an older player in James Harden, who's 35, mind you. And yes, James Harden is a great offensive engine during the regular season. But the goal for the Cavs is not to win the regular season, it's to win a championship. So what is the point of trading for James Harden when we've seen time and time again James Harden fail in the postseason? I just never understood this trade. It's not a bad trade. I understand, if they don't want to pay Darius Garland, maybe that's why, but I wouldn't say they failed. It's not a bad trade at all. I'm not giving them an F. But it's a so-so trade, so giving them a C-. The next team, the Dallas Mavericks, I give them a B+. So they added Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, and Marvin Bagley III. And they got a bunch of picks as well. I saw this move as a move to replenish the future that they lost when they traded away Luka. The Mavs got lucky with the number 1 draft pick, so they were able to get Cooper Flagg at the right time. The trade itself is a good trade. I like this trade for the Mavericks. They get a bunch of veterans that they can surround Cooper Flagg with, kind of teach him the game, take some pressure off him. I don't think Cooper Flagg would be able to grow into a more polished player if AD was there. Just because if AD was there, a lot of the winning responsibilities would be given to AD, because AD is technically a better player when healthy at this current time, or at least offensively. So I think trading AD and letting Cooper kind of run the show is a smart move by the Mavs front office. They still have Clay, they still have Kyrie when they come back, and you have a lot of veterans that you can surround Cooper Flagg with, and give him time to grow, and then the Mavs fan base will start to love the front office again. Now to my own team. I don't want to be biased, but I can't help it. So I want to give the Celtics an A. The Celtics only added Vucevic, which is fine. I think he's a good player for his age at this current time. But in terms of winning a championship, I don't think they've made any move significant enough for me to pick them to win the championship. Even though, in my previous video, I picked them to go to the finals. But that's just a hot take. I think it's a good move for them financially. They got rid of a lot of players that weren't really getting any playing time and was costing them money. So now they can kind of be a bit more aggressive in the buyout market. If Jason Tatum comes back this season and they fail to make the finals or whatever, they can be a little bit more aggressive next season because they're not paying a luxury tax. So overall, I think it's a good move for the Celtics. I don't think it was the best move, but I think it was a move that was needed to kind of pave a way forward for their future. The next team. I want to say I want to fear the deer, but I really don't. Not anymore, at least. The Milwaukee Bucks. I give them a grade C. Now, I did say they weren't going to trade Giannis because I don't think any team before the trade deadline had enough capital to kind of give the Bucks what they wanted. So I think it was a smart move for the Bucks to wait. But I also gave them a C because it's boring. Like, I want to see Giannis go to a different team because I want to see him win. It would have been interesting for the season. I think it would be more fun to see him on a different team. And I want to see what other teams give up for Giannis. However, for entertainment perspective, it was a missed opportunity. The Atlanta Hawks, I give them A+. I think they absolutely cooked here. They bring in Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, Gabe Vincent, and Jock Landale. Now, being an Aussie, Jock Landale is my guy. I will always support my Aussies. But the real trade piece here is Jonathan Kuminga. So before that, Atlanta gets rid of Kristaps Porzingis, which barely played anyway, right? Like, you have him in the books, and when he does play, he's amazing, but he's not available for more than 60-70% of the games. So what's the point, really, right? So you get a Jonathan Kuminga, who is a young talent, a shot creator that is not working out well in Golden State. The Hawks need more offense. Besides Jalen Johnson, there's really no one else that can kind of create for themselves. So I think bringing in Jonathan Kuminga was a smart move. You also get more shooting, you get Buddy Hield, you got Jock Landale, who can also hit the three. I think it's an absolute great trade for the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not picking them to win the East, but I do think they got significantly better. The Indy 500, I give them A+. Great trade. Great trade. I think the only team that had the kind of guts and courage to trade for a big man at this time, smart move. You have Zubac locked for the next 3 years. This year's a write-off, but when Tyrese Halliburton comes back, it will be a good pairing. And Pacers got an upgrade at the center over Miles Turner for way cheaper. And to be honest, Zubac is a better player than Miles Turner. I mean, Zubac can't hit the three as well as Miles Turner, but everything else, I think he's better. Offensively, I think Zubac is a better player than Miles Turner. I do think the Pacers gave up quite a bit for this trade, but I think it's a risk worth taking, especially with Tyrese Halliburton coming back next season. He is your superstar, and you can definitely build a team around him. I mean, besides the injury, they got to the finals, right? They were in a Game 7, and no one can tell me that if he didn't tear his Achilles, that they wouldn't have won the finals. But overall, great trade by the Indiana Pacers. I love it when small teams, they make bold moves, they take risks, and that's how you win. Now to my favorite team of the West. I'm joking, they're not my favorite team. I think the Clippers might be the biggest winners of this trade deadline than any other team. They bring in Darius Garland, Benedict Mathurin, Isaiah Jackson, and picks. They basically turned an old core into a young group of players. Darius Garland is 26. I think Benedict Mathurin is like 21 or 22. Isaiah Jackson is like under 28. And they get first round picks again. That is huge, right? They traded all their picks to get other superstars, and it never really worked out. And I think this was a move to salvage their future, which was a great move. And they also got a good young core back, right? Darius Garland, he can win you games. Benedict Mathurin, he can win you games. I think it's a great move for the Clippers. I also think they're preparing for the departure of Kawhi Leonard. It is his last season, so I'm not surprised if he leaves and they're left with nothing. But at least they got some future first round picks they can work with. They got a good young core they can work with. So I think the future is pretty bright with the Clippers. The Chicago Bulls. My first reaction to the trades is they're trying to be Oprah. It's guard city. They have so many guards. Like, they picked up Anthony Simons, they picked up Jaden Ivey, they picked up Colin Sexton. Everybody gets a guard. Like, they just expect to guard everyone with a point guard or a shooting guard. I don't know what the long-term plan is for the Bulls. It's definitely something that I'm not seeing right now, but overall, I give them a C. Second last team, Detroit Pistons. Picked up Kevin Huerter, picked up Dario Saric. I give them a B+. I think they got a good upgrade in bench scoring by acquiring Dario Saric and Kevin Huerter. Giving away Jaden Ivey stings a little bit. I think he's a good player, but he never really fits in the system, especially with Cade handling the ball so often. Jaden Ivey is more of an on-ball player. Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric are off-ball players, and I think they need more off-ball scoring. So I think it was a really good move for Detroit. I like how Detroit are making small moves to help this team win the championship this year. I'll have another video talking about the Detroit Pistons and if I actually think they'll win it or not. But I think Cade is a real superstar, and I think it's smart to build around him. The last thing I want to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies. I give them a C. Similar to the Giannis situation, I would have wanted to see Ja move on. I understand it might not be up to the team on if they could trade Ja because his value is not that high at the moment. But I think because his value is not high at all, you're better off just trading him early and getting something, right? Like, I'm not sure what the Grizzlies are expecting. Are they expecting like a Rudy Gobert kind of haul, like, 5 first-round picks and a young promising player? Like, I don't think they're gonna get that, right? So why don't you just trade him for, another player and some like 1 first-round pick or like a future second or something like that, right? And just get him out of there so the team can start rebuilding. Because you trade away Jaren Jackson, so are you not gonna rebuild? Like, are you not gonna rebuild around the young core that you have? Or is Ja actually still part of the future? Maybe they're doing the same thing with what they're doing with Giannis, waiting until the end of the season, seeing which teams make it or which teams don't, and seeing which teams are desperate at the end of the year. Maybe they'll pay a little bit more for Ja, and we'll see him move to another team. Overall, I think this has been one of the most fun and interesting trade seasons in the past few years. The winners of this trade deadline would be the Clippers. Hands down would be the Clippers, and you can't tell me otherwise. And I think second is probably Atlanta. The losers of this trade deadline would be the Bucks and the Grizzlies. Also Cleveland. I don't know what they're doing there. Actually, sorry, the Bulls. I don't know what they're doing there either. Alright guys, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. If you guys liked the video, please hit the subscribe button or like the video. Let me know what you think of my grades for the teams. If you agree or disagree, let me know. I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.